Have you ever wondered why the people closest to you often trigger the deepest storms inside your heart? Why the very person you love can suddenly feel like your greatest enemy? Carl Jung believed this is not a coincidence. He said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." What if the conflict you think comes from your partner, your friend, your family, is actually a mirror, reflecting the part of you that you refuse to see? This hidden part is called the shadow. And here's the paradox. The more you deny it, the more it shows up, especially in your relationships. You think you are angry at them, disappointed in them, betrayed by them, but beneath that reaction, your shadow is whispering, "Look at me. Face me. I am you." Projection is the shadow's favorite disguise. You project what you cannot accept in yourself onto the people you meet. You see your insecurity in their eyes. You hear your unspoken doubts in their words. You feel your unacknowledged anger in their actions. And as long as you remain unaware, your relationships become a battlefield, not because of who they are, but because of what you will not face within. But here's the invitation. When you uncover projection, you uncover freedom. Imagine transforming conflict into clarity. Imagine turning irritation into illumination. Imagine relationships where every trigger becomes a teacher, guiding you from darkness to integration, from sabotage to wholeness. So, are you ready to meet the shadow hiding in your love life? Shadow work is not just psychology, it is a mirror for the soul. Carl Jung described the shadow as everything about ourselves that we push away, deny, or bury in the unconscious. It is the anger we pretend not to feel, the jealousy we mask with politeness, the fear we cover with control, and the desires we shame into silence. Jung warned that what we refuse to bring into the light will not disappear. It waits, and it finds its stage most vividly in our relationships. Why relationships? Because nothing else exposes us as clearly as the presence of another human being. Alone, we can maintain the illusion that we are whole, balanced, enlightened. But the moment we love, the shadow awakens. The mirror of intimacy reflects both our beauty and our brokenness. When you see something in your partner that enrages you, when a friend's words feel like daggers, when a colleague's behavior stirs resentment, you may believe it is all about them, yet Jung would whisper, "What you do not make conscious appears in your fate as if it were destiny." Projection is how the shadow survives undetected. Instead of owning our flaws, we assign them to others. We convince ourselves, they are selfish, they are cold, they are arrogant. Sometimes it is true, but often, the intensity of our reaction reveals that what we are really fighting is not their nature, it is our own disowned self. This is why certain people trigger us far more than others. They unknowingly carry pieces of our shadow that we have yet to claim. Understanding this dynamic matters deeply in the modern world. We live in an age where relationships are fragile, where divorce, breakups, and conflict seem endless. But beneath many of these struggles lies the same root: unconscious projection. Shadow work offers a path not just to heal the self, but to heal the bonds between people. Imagine how different love would feel if we could pause and ask, is this truly about them? Or is this my shadow speaking through me? In this journey, you will learn how projection sabotages connection, how it creates illusions that breed conflict, and most importantly, how to turn those same projections into doorways to awareness and growth. Because the truth is simple, though rarely easy. Until you meet your shadow, you will meet it again and again in the eyes of those you love. Once upon a time, in an ancient village, there lived a potter known for creating the most beautiful clay vessels. Every jar he shaped carried his mark, delicate, precise, flawless. But hidden in the back of his workshop was one jar he despised. Its sides were uneven, its surface cracked, its colors imperfect. He covered it with cloth, never showing it to customers, never speaking of it. Yet no matter how many perfect jars he made, the flawed one remained. And strangely, whenever the villagers bought his work, they seemed to sense something missing. His jars, though elegant, felt cold. They lacked soul. One day, a storm swept through the village, breaking many of his prized vessels. Desperate, the potter uncovered the flawed jar to pour water for his family. To his surprise, He noticed how the cracks allowed light to pass through. When a candle was placed inside, the jar transformed its imperfections, created a dance of shadows and brilliance, filling the room with warmth. The very flaws he hated were the source of its beauty. This story mirrors the shadow. The potter is each of us. The flawless jars are the masks we wear in society, our polished image, our achievements, our controlled emotions. And the flawed jar is our shadow, hidden in the back of the workshop of the psyche. We cover it, deny it, and even feel ashamed of it. But here is the paradox. What we hide is often the key to our wholeness. The cracks, the traits we reject, can become sources of light when embraced. Relationships are where these hidden jars get revealed. The people around us, unconsciously, hold up the candle. They trigger the cracks, and through those cracks, our shadow spills out. That is why projection happens. We attribute our disowned flaws to others, without realizing we are simply looking at our own hidden jar, illuminated by their presence. Think of the last time someone close to you got under your skin. Was it their arrogance, their selfishness, their coldness? Or was it a crack in your own hidden jar, suddenly lit by the flame of connection? The story reminds us, we don't need to smash the jar. We need to uncover it, place the candle inside, and allow the light to pass through the cracks. Shadow work is not about destroying what we dislike in ourselves. It is about transforming it into a source of meaning, intimacy, and radiance. Number 1. You react with disproportionate intensity. Have you ever noticed how a small comment from your partner can feel like a dagger? Or how a trivial mistake by a friend makes you explode inside? This is the shadow at work. The intensity of the reaction is often greater than the situation itself because you are not just responding to them, you are responding to a buried wound within. Jung explained that when we deny emotions, they do not disappear. They simply wait for the right trigger. And relationships are full of triggers. If your anger, jealousy, or despair feels outsized, it may be your shadow projecting itself onto the other person. Ask yourself, am I truly upset with them? Or is this pain older than the moment? Number 2, you repeat the same relationship patterns. Do you ever feel like you are dating the same person in different bodies? Or that conflicts in your friendships always circle back to the same themes? This repetition is not bad luck. It is the shadow seeking recognition. Until you confront the parts of yourself you disown, you will keep attracting people who mirror those traits back to you. For example, someone who denies their own need for control may continually attract controlling partners. Someone who represses anger may repeatedly find themselves entangled with aggressive personalities. The pattern is a mirror. Jung would say, what you resist persists. The cycle continues until you stop blaming others and begin to see the shadow that orchestrates the play. Number 3, you demonize others to protect your self-image. The shadow thrives on projection by convincing you that the problem is always them. You paint your partner as selfish, your friend as disloyal, your colleague as arrogant. But if the judgment carries a strong emotional charge, it's worth pausing. Why this reaction with this person at this time? Often, what we most condemn in others is what we secretly refuse to admit in ourselves. For instance, someone who denies their own selfish impulses may constantly accuse others of being selfish. By demonizing others, you protect your conscious identity, but at the cost of sabotaging trust and intimacy. The shadow whispers, blame them so you never have to see me. These signs are not meant to shame you. They are invitations. Each reaction, each repeated cycle, each harsh judgment is a doorway to deeper awareness. When you catch yourself caught in one of these traps, pause and ask, could this be my shadow trying to speak? Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Number 4, you idealize, then devalue others. At first, someone seems perfect, charming, wise, almost magical. You place them on a pedestal, believing they will fulfill what you lack. But soon, the illusion cracks. Every flaw feels unbearable. You swing from worship to resentment. This cycle of idealization and devaluation is the shadow's dance. When we refuse to see our own inner worth, we project it outward, imagining another person holds the missing piece of our soul. But inevitably, they fail to live up to the fantasy, and we punish them for not carrying what was ours to begin with. Jung would say, The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The shadow ensures the reaction is explosive when projection is involved. Number 5. You feel haunted by jealousy and suspicion. Jealousy is one of the clearest signs of shadow projection. When you feel consumed by suspicion, believing your partner is hiding something, or fearing a friend will abandon you, it may reveal your own insecurities rather than their behavior. Often, the jealousy points to disowned desires or unacknowledged fears. Perhaps you envy their freedom, their charisma, their ease in the world. Instead of admitting this, the shadow twists it into suspicion. They are betraying me. They are untrustworthy. The more you deny your own longing, the more haunted you become by imagined betrayal. Number 6. You lose yourself trying to fix others. Another subtle trick of the shadow is the savior complex. You see someone's flaws, addiction, anger, emotional distance, and feel compelled to fix them. On the surface, it looks noble, even loving, but beneath it lies projection, an avoidance of your own unhealed wounds. By obsessing over their problems, you distract yourself from your own. The relationship becomes a stage for control and resentment, rather than true intimacy. Whenever you feel an irresistible urge to rescue someone, pause and ask, what part of me am I trying to heal through them? These additional signs show that projection wears many disguises: worship, suspicion, or rescue. Yet in all cases, the root is the same: our shadow, unacknowledged, searching for expression through the people we love. By noticing these patterns, we begin to reclaim what was ours all along. Number 7. Learn to pause and reflect before reacting. The shadow thrives in speed when you lash out, withdraw, or accuse without thought. Integration begins with a pause. In that pause, you ask, what part of me is being mirrored right now? This simple question turns the trigger into a teacher. Instead of blaming your partner or friend, you use the moment as a flashlight to discover the disowned emotions within. Reflection is not weakness, it is the gateway to freedom. Number 8. Practice radical self-honesty. Integration requires courage to admit what you see in the mirror. If you accuse others of arrogance, can you acknowledge the arrogant voice within? If you rage against selfishness, can you admit the moments when you too act for yourself alone? Self-honesty dissolves the illusion of projection. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." The more honest you are about your hidden motives, the less control the shadow has over your relationships. Number 9. Transform judgment into curiosity. The next time you feel the urge to condemn, shift your stance. Ask, why does this affect me so strongly? What is it showing me about myself? Curiosity softens the grip of the shadow. It creates space for dialogue instead of conflict, understanding instead of projection. When you replace judgment with inquiry, you no longer see the other as an enemy. You see them as a mirror, guiding you toward wholeness. These lessons are not about perfection. They are about practice, pausing, being honest, becoming curious. Each step integrates another fragment of the shadow, and with each integration, your relationships become less about sabotage and more about sacred connection. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This single sentence captures the essence of shadow work in relationships. What feels like destiny, the endless cycles of conflict, betrayal, attraction, and heartbreak, is often nothing more than our unconscious playing itself out through projection. We believe we are victims of circumstance, but in truth, we are dancers in a choreography written by the shadow. Think of the paradox. The qualities we most despise in others may be the very qualities we most need to integrate within ourselves. The arrogance that enrages you may actually be a call to claim your own authority. The selfishness you condemn might be an invitation to honor your own needs. The jealousy that poisons your love may be asking you to recognize your hidden insecurities and transform them into strength. The shadow is not evil, it is misunderstood. Jung believed that wholeness comes not from cutting out darkness, but from embracing it. He compared the psyche to alchemy. Lead must be confronted and transformed before it can become gold. In the same way, your shadow, anger, envy, fear, desire must be faced and accepted before your relationships can shine with authenticity. To deny it is to live half a life. To integrate it is to become whole. Relationships are the philosopher's stone of shadow work. They heat the crucible where your hidden traits are revealed. Every fight, every projection, every painful trigger is not punishment, it is alchemy in motion. Life gives you partners, friends, and rivals not to torment you, but to show you the hidden gold within your cracks. So, ask yourself, when you look into the eyes of the person you love, are you seeing them as they truly are? Or are you gazing into a mirror of your own unspoken self? The answer determines whether love becomes a battlefield or a sacred path to wholeness. The journey of shadow work in relationships is not about eliminating conflict, nor about achieving some flawless version of love. It is about transformation, from darkness to awareness, from projection to integration, from sabotage to wholeness. Think back to the signs we explored, the overreactions, the repeating patterns, the harsh judgments, the cycles of idealization and resentment, the jealousy, the urge to rescue. Each one is a signal not of who the other person truly is, but of what your shadow longs for you to see. And when you pause, when you dare to be honest, when you choose curiosity over condemnation, the entire landscape of love changes. Carl Jung reminded us, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. Imagine a world where relationships are not prisons of projection, but laboratories of growth. Imagine lovers, friends, and families who see their conflicts not as failures, but as invitations to deeper understanding. Imagine yourself no longer trapped in endless cycles, but walking with awareness, carrying both your light and your shadow with grace. This is the promise of shadow work, not to destroy the shadow, but to integrate it, not to find perfect relationships, but to create conscious ones. The path is not easy, but it is sacred, because every time you meet your shadow with compassion, you reclaim a piece of your wholeness. And in doing so, you bring more truth, more intimacy, and more love into the world. So, let me leave you with a question. The next time someone triggers you, will you see only their flaws? Or will you look deeper and ask, what part of me is being revealed? That single shift can change everything. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to continue this journey. Share your reflections in the comments. What shadow patterns have you noticed in your relationships? Subscribe if you wish to dive deeper into Jungian wisdom and the path of shadow work. Together, we can transform the way we love, the way we see, and ultimately, the way we live.